The day I walked into Mr. Ellis's classroom for a parent-teacher conference, I never imagined it would shatter my carefully constructed life. My son, Tommy, was struggling in 5th grade, and as a single dad in suburban Chicago, I was desperate for answers. But when our eyes met across the desk cluttered with student artwork, something electric passed between us. A connection that made my heart race and my world tilt on its axis. I sat down, trying to focus on Tommy's report card, but Mr. Ellis, "Call me Pierce," he said with a warm smile, had this way of looking at you like you were the only person in the room. He was in his early 30s, with tousled brown hair and kind hazel eyes that crinkled at the corners when he laughed. We talked about Tommy's math troubles, his budding interest in soccer, and how I was juggling work as a mechanic with single parenthood after my wife left us 2 years ago. Pierce listened intently, nodding, and shared stories of his own challenges, teaching in a conservative district where funding was tight and expectations high. By the end of the meeting, I felt seen in a way I hadn't since college, back when I'd buried any fleeting thoughts about my sexuality deep down. As I left the school, Tommy bounding ahead with his backpack swinging, I couldn't shake the feeling. That night, over pizza, Tommy raved about Mr. Ellis. "He's the best, Dad. He makes learning fun." I nodded, but my mind wandered. Was it just admiration for a good teacher or something more? I pushed it aside, reminding myself I was straight, or at least that's what I'd always told myself. But over the next weeks, excuses to email Pierce piled up, questions about homework, suggestions for extra help. His responses were prompt, thoughtful, laced with subtle humor that made me smile at my phone screen. One rainy afternoon, I volunteered for the class field trip to the Field Museum. Pierce organized it flawlessly, herding 20 excited kids through dinosaur exhibits. We ended up walking side by side, chatting about everything from Chicago's brutal winters to our favorite books. He mentioned growing up in a small Iowa town, coming out in college, and the backlash from his family. "It wasn't easy," he admitted, his voice steady but eyes distant. "But living authentically, worth every scar." I envied that courage. My own life felt like a series of compromises. Marrying young to please my parents, sticking to the garage job for stability. When a kid tripped and scraped his knee, Pierce handled it with calm efficiency, and I found myself staring, admiring his poise. That evening, as I tucked Tommy in, he asked, "Dad, do you like Mr. Ellis?" My throat tightened. "Of course, buddy. He's a great teacher." But the question lingered, stirring doubts I'd long ignored. The next day, I ran into Pierce at the local coffee shop. Coincidence? Maybe. We grabbed tables together, conversation flowing effortlessly. He talked about his passion for education, how he fought for inclusive curricula despite pushback from school board members who deemed LGBTQ topics inappropriate. I shared my fears of failing Tommy, the loneliness of single parenting. For the first time, I admitted how my marriage had been more obligation than love. As weeks turned to months, our interactions deepened. A shared lunch here, a text about a funny student anecdote there. I started questioning everything. Was this attraction? Society had drilled into me that men like me, blue-collar, Midwestern dads, didn't feel this way. My buddies at the garage would joke about those types, and I'd laugh along to fit in. But with Pierce, I felt alive, challenged. One night, after Tommy's soccer game where Pierce showed up to cheer, we walked to our cars under the stadium lights. "Thanks for coming," I said. He smiled. "Wouldn't miss it. Tommy's got potential. And so do you, Mark." My name on his lips sent a shiver down my spine. The conflict hit when Tommy's grades improved dramatically. At the next conference, Pierce praised my involvement, but his gaze held something unspoken. As I left, he called me back. "Mark, if you ever want to talk, really talk, I'm here." I nodded, heart pounding, and drove home in a daze. That night, I lay awake, wrestling with guilt. What would my ex-wife say? My parents, devout Catholics? The community? Yet the pull was undeniable. Rumors started swirling at school. A parent overheard us laughing together at a bake sale and whispered about inappropriate influences. The principal called me in, subtly warning about boundaries. We value Mr. Ellis, but appearances matter in this town. Anger flared. Why couldn't two men be friends? But deep down, I knew it was more. I confronted Pierce over coffee. People are talking. He sighed. They always do. But what do you want, Mark? The question hung heavy. I wanted him, but admitting it meant appending my life. Tensions escalated when Tommy came home upset. Some kids said Mr. Ellis is weird because he likes boys. My blood boiled. I marched to the school, demanding action against bullying. Pierce thanked me later, but the incident highlighted the societal minefield we navigated. In a moment of vulnerability, he shared his past. A high school crush that ended in heartbreak and isolation. I promised myself I'd never hide again. His words resonated, forcing me to examine my own denials. As fall turned to winter, our bond strengthened through stolen moments. Helping with holiday decorations, discussing books over phone calls. But doubt crept in. Was I using Pierce to fill a void? Or was this real? A family dinner with my parents amplified the pressure. They praised my traditional life, unknowingly stabbing at my secret. I left feeling suffocated, texting Pierce for solace. I can't keep pretending, I wrote. His reply, then don't. The turning point came during a snowstorm. Tommy's school closed, and Pierce offered to tutor him at our house. As snow blanketed the streets, we three built a fort in the living room, laughter echoing. After Tommy fell asleep, Pierce and I sat by the fire. This feels right, he whispered. I leaned in, our hands brushing. A spark that ignited everything I'd suppressed. No kiss, just acknowledgement. But it was enough to terrify me. The next morning, reality crashed in. My ex-wife, Sarah, called, having heard whispers from other parents. What's going on with you and that teacher? Think about Tommy. Her voice dripped with judgment, echoing the societal norms I'd once embraced. I defended our friendship, but inside, turmoil raged. Was pursuing this selfish? Tommy adored Pierce, but what if it confused him? I distanced myself, ignoring texts, avoiding school events. Pierce noticed, his messages turning concerned. Did I do something wrong? Guilt gnawed at me. At work, a coworker made a homophobic joke, and for the first time I didn't laugh. I snapped back, defending equality. Cost me a friendship, but it felt liberating. Still, the internal battle persisted. One evening, Tommy asked why Mr. Ellis hadn't come around. I miss him, Dad. His innocence pierced me. I realized my fear was hurting everyone. I reached out to Pierce, apologizing over dinner at a quiet diner. I'm scared, I confessed. He nodded, sharing his own fears of rejection, of professional repercussions. In that booth, under fluorescent lights, we laid bare our souls. He spoke of the discrimination he'd faced. Denied promotions, parental complaints about his lifestyle. I admired his resilience, vowing to match it. Our conversations turned to dreams, traveling, building a life free from judgment. But society pushed back harder. At a school board meeting, a vocal group demanded family values education, code for excluding LGBTQ representation. Pierce spoke eloquently against it, earning applause from some, jeers from others. I sat in the back, heart swelling with pride. But when a board member questioned his influence on students, rage boiled over. After, I found him in the parking lot, deflated. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. I pulled him into a hug, our first real embrace. It is. You're changing lives. As Christmas approached, tensions peaked. My parents invited us for dinner, and I debated bringing Pierce. Tommy begged, "Can Mr. Ellis come? He's like family." The word stung, family. I invited him, nerves frayed. The evening started cordially, but when my father asked about Pierce's situation, the air thickened. "I'm gay," Pierce said calmly. Silence fell. My mother changed the subject, but later, my father pulled me aside. "This isn't right for Tommy. Think about what you're exposing him to." Hurt and anger clashed. "He's exposed to kindness, Dad. That's what matters." The drive home was quiet. Tommy chattered happily, oblivious. Pierce squeezed my hand. Thank you for standing up. But the confrontation lingered, straining family ties. Sarah escalated, threatening custody reevaluation if I confused our son. Her lawyer cited unstable environment. Panic set in. Was love worth risking Tommy? I sought counseling, a neutral space to unpack my identity. The therapist validated my feelings, but warned of societal hurdles. Coming out later in life is brave, but prepare for backlash. Inspired, I attended a local LGBTQ support group, hearing stories mirroring mine. It bolstered my resolve. Meanwhile, Pierce faced professional scrutiny. A parent filed a complaint, alleging bias in grading, baseless but damaging. The principal investigated, putting Pierce on edge. I supported him through late-night calls, our bond deepening amid adversity. One night, as we walked along Lake Michigan, waves crashing, he said, "I love you, Mark." The words hung in the frigid air. I froze, then whispered, "I love you too." It was terrifying, exhilarating. But joy was short-lived. Tommy overheard a phone call, asking innocently, "Dad, are you and Mr. Ellis boyfriends?" My heart stopped. I sat him down, explaining simply, "Sometimes grown-ups love each other, no matter if they're boys or girls." He pondered, then hugged me. "As long as you're happy." Relief washed over me, but Sarah's threats loomed. The custody hearing loomed like a storm. Sarah painted me as irresponsible, citing my new lifestyle. Witnesses testified, friends, teachers. Pierce took the stand, defending our relationship as positive for Tommy. The judge, surprisingly progressive, ruled in my favor, emphasizing love over labels. Victory tasted sweet, but scars remained. With barriers crumbling, we built a life together. Pierce moved in gradually, Tommy thriving under dual guidance. We navigated holidays, blending traditions, facing occasional stares but finding allies too. My parents softened slowly, attending Tommy's games, awkward but trying. Yet, doubts whispered. Had I upended Tommy's world for my happiness? Society's judgments echoed, whispers at soccer practices, sidelong glances. But seeing Tommy smile, Pierce's love, I knew it was worth it. Spring brought renewal but also fresh conflicts. Tommy's school hosted a diversity fair, and Pierce proposed a booth on LGBTQ history. Excitement buzzed, but opposition mounted. A petition circulated, claiming it indoctrinated children. I helped organize, rallying supportive parents, but the backlash was fierce: emails, protests. One night, our car was vandalized with slurs. Fear gripped me. Was this the price of authenticity? Pierce remained steadfast, quoting activists. Visibility is resistance. His passion inspired, but Tommy's questions grew. Why do people hate us? Explaining bigotry to a child broke my heart. We attended pride events discreetly, Tommy waving a rainbow flag, his innocence a shield against hate. Professionally, I faced ostracism. Clients at the garage dwindled, whispers of boycotts. My boss pulled me aside. Keep your personal life personal. Frustration mounted. Why couldn't I? I considered switching jobs, but Pierce encouraged perseverance. Change comes from within. Family dynamics shifted. My sister, always the ally, hosted a barbecue, inviting Pierce warmly. But my brother remained distant, his silence louder than words. At a family reunion, tensions boiled when an uncle made a derogatory comment. I stood firm. That's not welcome here. It divided us, but integrity prevailed. Romantically, our relationship deepened through trials. We traveled to New York for a weekend, exploring hand in hand, free from local eyes. Conversations turned to future, marriage, adoption. Dreams felt tangible, yet societal hurdles loomed. Unequal rights in some states, adoption biases. Back home, a school scandal erupted. A student came out, facing bullying. Pierce intervened, offering support. Grateful parents thanked him, but critics accused overreach. The board debated policies, Pierce at the forefront. I testified, sharing our story. Love isn't a threat, ignorance is. Applause erupted, a turning point, but personal betrayal struck. A close friend, once supportive, distanced himself after his wife objected. It's not you, it's... The excuse rang hollow. Isolation crept in, testing our bond. Pierce and I argued, first major fight. Are you regretting this? He asked, voice cracking. No, I insisted. But it's hard. We reconciled, stronger, vowing communication. Tommy's birthday party highlighted progress. Friends attended, some parents hesitant but polite. Pierce organized games, his energy infectious. Tommy beamed. Best party ever. That night, as we cleaned up, gratitude overwhelmed me. This was family, messy, real. Summer vacation offered respite. We camped in Wisconsin, stargazing, sharing stories. Pierce opened up about lost loves, insecurities. I confessed buried attractions from youth. Vulnerability cemented us. Yet, autumn brought renewed challenges. Tommy started middle school, new environment, fresh prejudices. Pierce teased about his two dads. He came home in tears. We consoled, enrolled in counseling. Advocacy became daily. Meetings with administrators, pushing for anti-bullying programs. Societal debates amplified. Elections loomed. Candidates spouting anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. We volunteered for campaigns, door-knocking, educating. Exhausting but empowering. Pierce's class project on equality won awards, drawing media attention, positive spotlight amid negativity. Intimacy evolved, not physical but emotional. Late nights discussing fears, aspirations. What if we lose? I worried. We already won by loving, he replied. Pivotal moment. My father called, apologizing. I was wrong. Tommy's happy, that's what counts. Reconciliation healed old wounds. As years blurred, our story became legend in small circles. Inspirational to some, controversial to others. Tommy grew confident, advocating himself. We married quietly, rings symbolizing commitment. But reflection brought questions. Had societal pressures forged or fractured us? In quiet moments, I pondered choices. The wedding was intimate, in a Chicago park under blooming cherry blossoms. Tommy stood as ring bearer, beaming. Friends and family, those who accepted, cheered. My parents attended, awkward hugs evolving to genuine warmth. Sarah, post-custody peace, sent well wishes. Pierce's vows moved me. In a world that tried to keep us apart, we chose each other. Mine echoed, you taught me to live truthfully. Honeymoon in California offered escape. Beaches, wineries, anonymity. We discussed expanding our family, fostering perhaps. Dreams felt achievable. Back home, reality intruded. Pierce's promotion was denied. Subtle discrimination suspected. He fought legally with my support. The case drew attention, highlighting inequalities in education. Protests ensued. Media frenzy. We became reluctant spokespeople, interviews challenging but cathartic. Tommy navigated teen years, questioning his own identity, not gay but ally. Thanks for showing me love is love, he said. Pride swelled, but guilt lingered. Had our visibility burdened him? Community evolved slowly. Our neighborhood hosted pride block parties, once unthinkable. We volunteered, mentoring youth. Pierce's curriculum changes passed, inclusive education prevailing. Personal growth continued. I left the garage, starting a nonprofit for LGBTQ families in trades. Empowering, fulfilling. Pierce published a book on teaching diversity, bestseller in niche circles. Conflicts persisted. Online trolls, family estrangements. My brother reconciled eventually, his child's questions prompting change. Society's pendulum swung, progress, backlash. Years later, Tommy's graduation was milestone. He spoke of our influence. My dad's taught me resilience. Tears flowed. In retirement, we traveled, reflected. Pierce's health scare, a minor heart issue, reminded fragility. No regrets, he whispered in hospital. Our story, shared in podcasts, inspired. But controversies remained. Did we push too hard? expose Tommy unduly? As sun set on our porch, hands entwined, peace settled. Love endured. The years following Tommy's graduation brought a quieter rhythm to our lives, but the echoes of past struggles never fully faded. Pierce and I settled into a cozy home in the suburbs, where neighbors waved without a second glance, a far cry from the wary stares of our early days. Tommy moved to college in Boston, studying education, inspired by Pierce. His calls home were filled with excitement about classes and new friends, but he always asked about us, his voice a reminder of the family we'd built against the odds. One crisp autumn evening, as Pierce and I walked our dog through the leaf-strewn streets, he turned to me with that familiar crinkle in his eyes. "Do you ever think about how it all started?" "That parent-teacher conference," I chuckled, squeezing his hand. "Every day. I was so lost back then." We reminisced about the hurdles, the school board battles, the custody fights, the moments when doubt nearly tore us apart. But those memories, painful as they were, had forged an unbreakable bond. Society had changed, too. Laws evolved, protections strengthened, but pockets of resistance lingered. We volunteered at a local center for LGBTQ youth, sharing our story to offer hope. One teen, struggling with coming out, mirrored my younger self. "How did you know it was worth the risk?" he asked. Pierce answered softly, "Because hiding hurts more than any backlash." His words resonated, a testament to the man I'd fallen for. Yet not all ties mended. Sarah and I co-parented amicably, but underlying tensions simmered. At Tommy's wedding years later, to a wonderful woman named Mia, we navigated family dynamics carefully. My parents, now in their 80s, embraced Pierce fully, but some relatives stayed distant. It stung, but we'd learned acceptance couldn't be forced. In our golden years, health challenges tested us. Pierce's arthritis slowed him. My back from garage days ached. But we adapted. Gardening together, reading by the fire. Tommy's kids called us Grandpa Mark and Grandpa Pierce, their laughter erasing old scars. Reflecting on our journey, I often wondered about the choices. The drama, the conflicts, had they been necessary? Or could we have navigated quieter paths? As I sit here now, watching Pierce nap in his favorite chair, I ponder. Was it right to pursue love at the potential cost of our son's stability? Or was societal pressure the true villain?